Hi, today we're going to cover John chapter 3. In John chapter 3, we have the account of a man who came to Jesus at night. He's trying to figure out the whole God and Jesus thing, and he tells Jesus that they know he must be from God to do the things that he's doing, but he's just having a hard time making sense of any of it. And so you can almost hear the frustration in his voice as he comes to Jesus and he's trying to figure all of this out. And today I think there are a whole lot of people that are still like that. They look at the lives of people who love God with all their heart, and they look at the lives of other people, and there's an unmistakable difference. But is it truly God that makes the difference? And they're trying to figure it all out. And then, of course, there's the people around them, just like the people around Nicodemus that day when he came to Jesus, people that weren't believing who Jesus was. And so does he believe when no one else believes? And when they finally come and they ask about it, like Nicodemus, he was told, you must be born again. And I can imagine he must have shook his head like, what does that mean? I'm more confused than I've ever been. What do you mean be born again? I mean, think on that. How do you really explain to a baby what birth will be like? How do you explain leaving the only realm you've ever known finding out that there's another realm you can live in, a realm that's going to be better, that you will go from a dark place to light, that your eyes are going to open and you're going to be able to see and you're going to grow and become? How do you explain that? How do you even convince them that's real? Jesus said being born again was like the wind. You don't know where it comes from or where it goes, and yet it's real. And he said that's what being born again is like. One time Jesus, or the Father, was talking to me during my prayer time, and he said, it's kind of like chocolate. How do you convince someone, how do you explain chocolate to somebody who's never tried chocolate? And I just sat there. I don't know how I would explain it. It's so good. I eat it. I mean, yeah, you just have to experience for yourself and see how good it is. And you just keep experiencing it and showing them how good it is until sooner or later they want to experience it for themselves. And so for those of us who are born again, it's the best thing that's ever happened to us. And it's hard for us to explain to people who aren't what that's like. And for those who've never been born again, they have no idea what they're missing. They don't realize what they don't have because they don't have it. And yet there's so much more. Jesus went on to talk to Nicodemus he compared himself and his crucifixion to the story of Moses lifting up the serpent in the wilderness it was a bronze serpent on a pole. They were bitten by snakes, and anyone who would look at the pole with the snake on it would be healed. Well, that doesn't make any sense. That makes no sense in the natural, that if you were bitten by a snake, but you looked at a snake on a pole, you would get healed, and yet it worked. And that's the exact same with Jesus. When we look at him and him on the cross and his crucifixion and what he accomplished for us, we can't explain to you how it works. We can't tell you how being born again is, but we know that when you believe on Jesus with all your heart, that his sacrifice was enough for you, that you can be born again. So I encourage you today, if you've not been born again, make Jesus the Lord of life. You're going to come into a life that you never knew was possible, and it's hard for us to explain. And if you've been born again, then you know the most powerful verse in John chapter 3. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes on him should not perish, but have everlasting life. That's the story of John chapter 3. God loved you so much that he wanted you to be born again, and he sent his Son so you could be. We love you, and God loves you.